how to put English on the basketball.
Welcome to episode 5 of With the English podcast with myself, Glenn, and Sam. You can also catch Sam on his individual channel, Sam from England, where you can watch and listen to his videos of Sixes in Six. Ironically, it's called that given they can't get the job done in six. It's probably about a week since we did our last episode. There's been a lot happening in the NBA. Ja Morant waving guns around, coach seconds galore, including Doc Rivers, which I'm sure Sam will touch on in a bit. Coach appointments, Ime Udoka is going to be hitting the strip clubs in Houston. And the big news from yesterday is the Spurs, not surprisingly, winning the draft lottery for the big Wembanyama for the generational
Are you a
talent.
conspiracy theory?
But on the court,
you a conspiracy theory on the Spurs, are you, Glenn?
No, I don't think so. Generally, I think during the season just had this feeling that the Spurs would get it based on the history of their big men. I don't know why. It just seemed like it was going to. I feel like Victor is going to be a good fit for Spurs, whereas I don't see him. But anyway, we'll probably discuss the drafts and that if in the off season, if we do a few episodes in the off season. But on the court, since the last episode, we've had the teams advance to the conference finals. We had the Lakers knock out the Warriors, Denver knock out the Suns, Heat, 8th seed knock out. Who did they knock out?
The Heat, Knicks.
Knicks, yes, Knicks, thank you. And the Celtics knocked out the Sixers, which is a carbon copy of the bubble 3 years ago. So it's good to see these matchups outside the bubble. But as I mentioned, the Sixers last in that. I did that on purpose because I'm going to head over to you, Sam, for I want to know now you've had a few days to take it all in. How do you feel about the Sixers' performance in Game 7, and how do you see the Sixers moving forward for next season?
Well, I don't think everyone that's going to watch this is going to necessarily understand fully where I'm going to go with this, and I could rant on, but I am going to be careful. So they're the biggest letdown in Philadelphia sports right now. The Eagles, the Union, and the Phillies all got to the respective finals of their competitions and lost. Union lost to Gareth Bale, so most people, which is probably going to be footy soccer fans, will understand, legendary talent, last minute goal. Eagles lost Super Bowl to Mahomes. Even if you're not an NFL fan, he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and you're proud of their achievements. The effort was there. The effort was there. And same with the Phillies, right? They went on a great run. They got us all brought in. I'll never, ever forget Dancing on My Own remix by Callum Scott and Tiesto. Still listen to it now. Like that, the vibe that they gave was fantastic. And then the vibe that this team gave at the start of the season, because as the baseball season ended, the Sixers season started, so there was a lot of hope and promise Harden was going to have an injury-free season, and as the season went on, you saw him rest a few times and stuff like that. So you really had high hopes. Then the playoffs happened. You went 4-0. You're like, okay, Nets aren't very good. Then you come against the Celtics. Yes, in fairness, I did think we wouldn't win the series because I just think the Celtics got our number. But you go 3-2 up, you expect to win the series. And then it's the effort. Yeah, it should have been. That's what my channel, that would have been ideal for my channel, right? They should. Yeah, the effort wasn't there. The worst thing you can do in Philadelphia is effort. Effort is the number one thing that we expect. We're a blue collar city, and I say we because I spend enough time out there. I can say that. I am an adopted Philadelphian, and the one thing we want is a hard working city. I grew up in Southampton. And obviously, I know I live in a nice part of Winchester now. If you Google it, everyone's going to go, "Oh, you're super rich." I'm not, but your blue collar city, hard working. You expect your people to, a lot of people in Philadelphia were working class. So all they want from their athletes is working class. The most famous athletes in Philadelphia, most beloved, is Allen Iverson, Brian Dawkins. Dr. J is from his like sort of more so for how magical he was, but Iverson and Brian Dawkins known for that work ethic and how they gave everything on the field in the NFL for Dawkins and how he left stuff on the court. And that's why I bought his Iverson jersey, because he gave his heart. Embiid had no heart. Harden had no heart. Doc Rivers, great leader.
Ben Simmons, what happened to him?
But that's what I mean. So people are saying the Harden trade was bad now. It wasn't. Ben Simmons didn't want to play, so we got a player that's good, and Harden actually had a good regular season, and I know Harden wants Rivers out, but from my understanding, bar Furkan Korkmaz, who's obviously not playing, and Harden, a lot of the players respected him, and Embiid was upset. So I think Rivers is a good leader because he's an ex-player and all that lot, but I don't think he's a very good X's and O's coach. And I think the only way we're going to win with this current roster, or maybe get to the conference finals, maybe win it with a bit of luck, i.e. Miami, with how they're doing now, is if maybe getting a coach. And obviously Spoelstra's the best coach in the NBA, in my opinion, now. Pops, obviously.
Which is crazy to think. I heard that he's never won Coach of the Year.
No, but it's because of the regular season, right? I don't think Miami have ever looked solid enough to go, we're going to be top tier. They should have done better in previous years. So, like the Wade era and stuff like that, they should have done better.
So who's to blame for Game 7?
The players, the effort wasn't there. And Embiid just didn't turn up. He didn't.
Do you feel like the players felt like they should have got the job done in Game 6? I heard some comments from Joel Embiid, not blaming his other players, but just saying, the others need to improve. It's not just James. He did, but I personally don't think he was referring to Game 7. I think he was referring to Game 6, where Embiid and Harden did perform, and the supporting cast did not perform. And that was, I felt like, if you're going to beat Celtics in that series, going 3-2 up, you need to go for the head and get it done in Game 6.
Yeah, but Embiid didn't demand the ball enough in the last 5 minutes of that game. He didn't touch it, or didn't get the touches in the paint. He should demand the ball, and Rivers should have called it. So for me, Game 6 was more on Rivers. Game 7 was on the players. I think after Game 6, I think Harden was like, I don't want to play for this coach no more. And I think the rest of the team had a similar sort of attitude, or some of the team. I think they gave up. I think, Rivers was doing very well with his leadership, and then Game 6, he just didn't make the adjustment, didn't get we didn't play very well in Game 6, we could have won it. We were up by 2 with 5 or 6 minutes to go, and then Celtics went on a run. So it was a good team. It's a fair play, but yeah, Sixers need a big, Nick Nurse.
Well, the switch flipped in Game 6. Both teams were pretty poor offensively, but you had a bit of a lead. Jason Tatum was shooting blanks for most of the night, and I don't know what happened, but he just turned it on for the last 5 minutes and hit like 16 points, and you could tell the energy just went out of the building, and maybe it carried over into Game 7 a little. And suddenly the Boston fans turned up because Jaylen Brown calls them out, and suddenly they make a bit of noise.
Yeah, they've been poor. They're not as passionate as we are. So the one thing we've got over the Celtics is we are a better fan base.
Seems a bit of a hurdle, you guys getting past the semi-finals as well.
Yeah, I know. Maury's got a big job this off-season. So, yeah. Well, I'll talk more about that in the off-season, I suppose. But, yeah, and when I know who the coach is, but the biggest thing is got to get the right coach. Don't want JJ Redick. Don't want D'Antoni. Don't want Sam Cassell. As much as I love Sam Cassell, but it's got to be someone like Nurse. Probably Nurse is probably my go-to. I would go with.
I think Nurse would be a good fit for you guys.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, he was coach in England, right? So we can have that little link with it. But yeah, that would be probably my favourite one to go with. That's where I'd like to go. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the end of my round.
No, it's
Don't
good.
trigger me. Don't trigger me. No more.
I can tell you're over it.
Yeah.
So this has been recorded after the first 2 games in the conference finals. Celtics are down 1-0. Playoff Jimmy just continues to be playoff Jimmy, and my Lakers are 1-0 down in a high-scoring game in Denver. I think we got a bit caught rabbit in the headlights for the first half. Lacked the energy. Jokic was just absolutely insane. Passing, shooting, putbacks, commanding the glass. I think we were just a bit shell-shocked. I shamefully gave up and went to bed at half-time. And then saw in the morning we had a bit of a fight back. This series in the West is clearly going to be about adjustments. And it's about who makes the right adjustments. Darvin Ham made a good adjustment. maybe left it a bit too late, but later in the third, he put Rui onto Jokic to free up Anthony Davis, who could be a bit of a secondary defender and go harder on the offense. It worked well. We got to within 3. LeBron goes for a 3 to tie the game. You know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. It didn't go in that time, but LeBron helped us get us to within 3 regardless. So game 2 is going to be interesting. It's the first time we've been down in the series this season, but we are 4-0 when losing the game. So hopefully we can bounce back. It's going to be real difficult if we don't come away with at least splitting the first 2 road games. So yeah, it'd be interesting. We gambled on going small. I think it worked for the Warriors, but Denver have got a lot of size.
Yeah.
With Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., even Jamal Murray's not a small guard.
No.
So yeah, we need to address that and put a bit more bigger bodies in. Would be Vando. I think it's going to be. I think we did a 7-man rotation, or it might have been 8 maximum, but we're not going to see many players in this series. I'll be surprised if Tristan Thompson gets any minutes in this series. But he is a big body, and he's probably defended Jokic quite well in the past. But I think things have changed since Tristan Thompson was at the Cavs, and since Jokic started for Denver. So if I'm going for a prediction of this series, I'm going to say Denver in 6. Obviously, my heart wants different, but I'm not going to put it out in the universe. To be honest.
So you don't think that Pennsylvania's finest Walker's gonna turn up and have a big game like he did in the previous round?
I think part of me, the reason I gave up so early, I almost felt like we've enjoyed the first round, we enjoyed the second round, and it almost felt like we'd gone too far and our legs went underneath us for that first half. But who knows? Maybe I shouldn't give up so easily when you got 2 superstars on your team and a roster that clicking.
I think you never know what can happen.
Austin Reeves, sorry,
Yes. Sounds correct,
I could have been referring to Austin Reeves and Anthony Davis, to be honest. 2 superstars. But yeah, it could go to 7 games, but I just think Denver have got a lot more than us. They've been together for a few years. Mike Malone's been there for a number of years. It might be just a bit too soon for us. And I've said previously that maybe we just got to get the group back together next year and see what happens with that. But we've still got a chance. It's not going to shock the world if we do beat Denver in a series of 7.
No, I think there's. I joked around with you earlier in the season, but yeah, you can't, since the trade and that, you have been a good team. So yeah, the fact you're in the conference finals, the fact you've got LeBron, what he does for his age is great. But you are right. There is a bit of there's a reason why Denver had one of the best regular season records, and you guys didn't, even after the trade. I know you had one of the better records post trade, but Denver still maintained their performances. So
yeah, and you could probably say Denver slowed down towards the end to ramp up for the playoffs, and Joker looks fresh. The whole team looks pretty fired up and fresh. They made light work of Phoenix and Minnesota, so they're going to be favourites. They're top, they're top seed for a reason.
Yeah.
Not that matters in the East, apparently, if you're top seed, but in the West this season, it appears to mean something. But we'll see. Obviously I want us to go through to the finals. I just can't, still in shock that we're here at the moment. Over in the East, like I mentioned, the Heat are 1-0 up. How do you see that series going?
I think it's going to go 7. I think with both series are going to be tough because you just don't know what's going to happen on each given night with some of the inconsistencies. With Denver, Jokic is going to get get his assist numbers and things like that, and probably at triple doubles or close to it every night, and feeds to, you know, who he needs to feed to, whether it's Murray, Gordon, whatever, Porter Jr. But with the Celtics, it's who's going to turn up with Tatum and Butler. Like, everyone's about playoff Butler, but he had very similar times to like Harden did. Actually, he had a couple of big games, he had a couple of quieter games against Knicks, and granted, he didn't have in the quieter games. He still, you know, he still looked comfortable as a team, but so he didn't have to be playoff Jimmy. But it's just the inconsistencies there with both the teams, particularly the Celtics. And I know, like, you know, you see some of the guys that we like Mo and people like that, like reporters, and say they don't play serious basketball or whatever, but they need to work something out, because the Brown and Tatum thing, like Tatum has 0 points I think in the fourth quarter, or at least for he definitely did towards the last 5-6 minutes. He didn't make any shots in the last 5-6 minutes. So
it's almost like they don't want it easy. They seem to turn up when the pressure's on.
yeah, and then when they're away,
look at I don't know if
the rule
it's the
is
intensity of the Garden.
yeah. It's the rule is the series don't start until you win away. Like, you win, like Boston will go to Miami and probably win. It's weird. It is weird. Whereas in the West, that has kind of been true when Denver, you know, when they won the away game, that was kind of it. They kind of went on and, you know, done it. You know, didn't have to do the whole 7 game. That's why I think it'll go 7. That's why I think it will go 7 in the East. Both teams, you've got the better coach on the Heat, better roster on the Celtics. Centre wise, you might have the better player start. I think Bam probably is better than Al. Wing / guard in the Tatum and Butler. Butler's more of a dog. Tatum, I don't think, you know, Butler is the guy. It still hurts.
If you're looking on paper, the Celtics have a much stronger team.
They're only 7 deep again still. They're 7 deep. So
Heat. I did find it interesting. Did you? So I think they gave up 46 points in the third quarter, and Joe Mazzulla didn't use 1 timeout.
It's like he's saving
them,
thinks he gets them all for later. It is, but I think the thing is as well, he doesn't like he likes his guys to be creative and do his thing, and I like that he puts trust in his players. But yeah, 7-man rotation when the Heat have obviously got a main 7. They've got, you know, I think Martin and Lowry off the bench were the main 2, but they still had, you know, Robinson come off the bench as well, and Seller, I think. So they need to use their depth and use stuff that they can do. So yeah, it's interesting to see, but I think it'll go 7.
Yeah, I you know, they seem to rely on a lot on these Robert Williams minutes. They seem to do their plus when he's on the court is pretty damn solid. But yeah, I just don't. It must be frustrating for Celtic fans seeing these slumps from Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
1 minute he's, like he humbly says, one of the best players in the world, but then, you know, within a quarter or a game, he's a completely different player. It's hard to know if he's built for the lights, or if he's not built for the lights.
Yeah. No, I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind him on the team, but yeah, no, I agree. I think there's inconsistencies at times for him, and I don't know if it's because they're trying to get Brown and Smart touches or whatever, but yeah, we'll see. But
you
yeah,
may know, obviously, you've been following the NBA a lot longer, obviously, than myself. Has there been an 8th seed to reach the finals before? Or?
It's a good question. I actually don't know. I think there might have been.
I don't think there has been.
No, there's not been an 8th seed since I've been watching. I know someone's going to call me out now, maybe from the West, but that's certainly not in the East. Certainly not in the East. The first time, because the Sixers and the Bulls series, when we won and we got lucky, it was the first time for years and years that a first seed had been beaten by an 8th seed. So it was like one of the first times it happened. So for that to be the case, then obviously, yeah, when it wasn't 7 games, it was 5 games. It might have been, but certainly not in the last 20 odd years. Like I said, I've been watching hardcore since 2008-9. Nothing since then. But yeah,
I had a feeling. It was the answer was I just googled it, but I had a feeling it was Houston, and it is Houston because It was mentioned on the Last Dance documentary with the Houston Rockets finishing 6th and going on to win the championship. So
I've got here
if
the New
he
York Knicks
if
defeated
he
the
reached those
Pacers.
finals,
New York Knicks 99. There you go.
oh yeah,
There we go. Bits there's something new every day. We learn while we're doing chats. Yeah. So I knew it wasn't in the 2000s. So
well, there you go. Well, regardless, he possibly reaching the finals after finishing 8th. That's going to be,
and they're playing losing the
if you
playoff
think
game.
about it,
Losing to the Hawks.
yeah, they're almost out. If you think, if it were to be a Lakers Heat finals, you've got the 7th in the West and the 8th in the East. It's sort of, does it downplay the regular season?
Wow, I think that could do the Shaquille O'Neal final as well.
Got me now?
I have got you now. Yeah. That's going to be fun. I have to try and edit that out. Yeah, sorry. What did you say? I caught the 7th and 8th seeds, and I said the Shaquille O'Neal final.
Yeah, I said I was tired of Shaquille O'Neal because he's been betting against us in the last few rounds, and now we're in the Western Conference Finals. He's referring to the Lakers as we. I think he picks and chooses when he when he wants to be a Laker, basically.
Nah, yeah, but he's on inside the NBA. So he likes to say silly things. Like Barkley sometimes says things against the Sixers and the Suns, but deep down he loves them both. And I think Shaq loves the Lakers. So yeah, that's fine.
He does have the Lakers, just keep it consistent.
Yeah, true.
So tonight we've got game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. I will be watching the whole way through this time, unless it is a complete blowout. Then
Are you?
I might have to get some. Well, if it's biased, then I'm staying up all night and rewatching it. But hopefully I get to watch the whole game. And we can come away from Denver. They talk about the altitude thing. I forget to mention that. Obviously, it does have an effect, the altitude. Like, it's a real thing. But I do also think, well, how come that Denver have never reached the finals and never won a championship if it's such a factor?
No, I think it is. I think it is a factor. I don't care what anyone says. It's just
No, it is a factor, but it's clearly not enough of a factor for.
But it's the first time
Denver
they've
to
had a
gain.
legit team since probably even when they had Melo and Iverson and things like that. They were obviously aging at the time, but probably last time they had a legit team, really. But they weren't really legit, but on paper they were. So they haven't had a legit team really in most of the time. So that's why. So, yeah.
True. Well, we'll see what happens, and next time we do this, we'll probably be deep into the conference finals.
Yeah, we'll try and get. Well, no, we'll get one in. We will get one in. I think after the weekend, we'll get one in early next week. So then it'll be 2-1, maybe looking at going 3-1 up potentially. Sorry, yeah, it'd be 1-1 and going maybe 2-1, maybe looking at that for the West. And the East will probably be live that night, depending on what night we do it. So yeah, at least be 1-1 in the East and maybe 2-1 in the West.
I don't want to go on about it, but off the call, what do you make of Ja Morant's latest prattling about?
It's silly. Silly.
It is, yeah.
You're getting paid millions. He's not breaking the law, as most people say, but and I think the inside guys kind of touch on it very well. And I'm sure everyone watching this probably watches Inside the NBA. If they don't, watch what they said. And I know because I met a guy in Manchester who remember telling me he changed Teddy Sheringham's light bulb for him because he wasn't allowed to get on a ladder to change the light bulb and said not to ever tell anyone until he's retired and is long gone. So obviously he told me 15 years or so later. So they are insured. You shouldn't go up ladders. You shouldn't go on motorbikes, things like that. So you don't wave guns around. You're the face of the league, or the face of the franchise of your franchise, and you are a face of the league. When there's advertisements, commercials for NBA big plays and things like that, Ja Morant is on those. So
yeah, I think Charles Barkley made an excellent point that okay, you're not breaking the law, but when you sign up to be an NBA player, you you have an agreement, you trade off those luxuries of having a normal life, essentially, and you are a prominent figure in the public, and you just can't be doing that. I don't know if I know it's different contextually because England has a ban on guns, but I remember the uproar when everyone saw Raheem Sterling's gun tattoo on his foot, and all it was a reference to him that being his shooting foot, and the media completely ripped into him. So yeah, a bit different because America love their guns, but I just don't get why. Like, at least do it in private. Why have you got to go live? I just don't get it. There's also no one's thinking about the dangerous side of it. How many times do guns go off when they shouldn't? He's waving it around so immaturely.
Yeah.
If that goes off and he, God forbid,
Shot his mate.
he shoots himself, or
Worst
shoots his mate, his life's over. So
yeah,
I didn't buy it. When he went for this 10-day rehab and the interview, and I just thought it was a lot of nonsense, and they're acting like he had, he was going through some stressful problems. But for me, just an idiot.
He is 100%. 100%.
Was it fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice,
shame on you?
No, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So we'll see what Adam Silver does about that. There's talks of a serious suspension, which could really jeopardise Memphis's season next season. And I feel like Memphis are in an important period of their franchise, given they have got such a talent in Ja Morant and a decent team, and he could mess it up for all of them.
Yeah, agree.
And himself.
No, 100% agree.
But yeah, next episode we'll get back to on the court stuff.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully we might know who's going where. You've seen rumours about. I saw rumours today about Rivers potentially being a candidate for Bucks, Williams being a candidate for the Bucks. So hopefully we'll know more as well on players. Now the lottery's been done, there might be some more sort of moves from coaches as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, good. Always chatting about the NBA with you, Glenn. So hopefully next episode you'll be a bit happier because the Lakers will have won a game. Like I say, maybe 1 or 2, maybe it'll be 2-1 or whatever.
Yeah, we got to take one from the road, hopefully. So we'll 100%. See.
Yeah, agree.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you stayed this long, if you have, great. I know only a few people watch all the way. Looking at our viewing numbers on YouTube, we do get people watching several minutes worth. So we need to try and get to 20. So yeah, try and watch 20 to 30 minutes of it. It helps like grow the channel. So like it, subscribe it, and the watch time are the 3 most important things to grow it. So
cheers, guys.
Bye. And let's go Sixers. No, I'm joking. Let's enjoy the NBA Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals.
Let's go Lake Show.
We're going to end on that.